Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo and Dino Ferrari. The clue is in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Pierre Gasly lines up on pole position, and Alex Albon lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Drugovich, Hauger, Oscar Piastri, and Tsunoda. Magnussen, Russell. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Vettel and Ayumu Iwasa. Yuri Vips, Leclerc. They've taken a grid penalty. Esteban Ocon and Armstrong. Mick Schumacher, Fernando Alonso. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Lando Norris and Red. Bottas and Jack Doohan. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight. So let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Pierre Gasly, our championship leader, pushes that lead out even further after today's performance. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
And with that result, McLaren can no longer be touched at the top of the table. They've had their ups and downs this season like all teams, but they've weathered the storm and come out on top. McLaren are world champions once again. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Albon, Fernando Alonso, and Tsunoda, Hauger, Iwasa, Oscar Piastri, and Marcus Armstrong, Mick Schumacher, Magnussen, Jack Doohan, and Ocon, Vettel, Norris, Valtteri Bottas, and Red, Drugovich, and Yuri Vips. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
Mate, that brings you up a place. DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. overtake button for more power. Information on Schumacher. Okay, they're out of this race. Behind. Caution, caution. Okay, we've lost a position. That's us down a place. Yellow flag. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Pierre Gasly, our championship leader, pushes that lead out even further after today's performance. And with that result, McLaren can no longer be touched at the top of the table. They've had their ups and downs this season, like all teams, but they've weathered the storm, and brilliant to see them lining the track here in Albert Park. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. Welcome, everyone, to the Australian Grand Prix. So here we are at Albert Park Circuit, 3.28 miles around, with the streets making for a bumpy surface with little undulation. There are 14 corners around the lake, with the best passing opportunities coming at turn 1 and turn 3. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And it's Pierre Gasly in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Albon, Russell, Fernando Alonso and Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Iwasa, Magnussen and Jack Doohan, Yuri Vips, Hauger, Felipe Drugovich and Armstrong, Red, Ocon, Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas, Norris and Mick Schumacher. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. I'm joined again today by none other than Natalie Pinkham. Tell me, Natalie, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between Grand Prix. You know a lot about how test drivers and race drivers go about their business. So how do these roles differ in your eyes?
Interesting question. There are two very different mindsets. In the old days, of course, they used to cover up to 15,000 kilometres of testing in a season. And that role would be more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as possible so that the data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When lining up on the grid for a race, however, a race driver's frame of mind is all about what they can get out of the situation on that day, and the car is the tool to help them achieve those goals.
Okay, that was a nasty hit. Turn the engine off and wait for the marshals.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I really feel the track layout, combined with the track temperatures we saw today, suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Dennis Hauger gets my vote today.
And with that result, McLaren can no longer be touched at the top of the table. They've had their ups and downs this season like all teams, but they've weathered the storm and come out on top. McLaren are world champions once again. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next.
They're 8th. Okay, so their best lap time is at 1:26.9.
off the back of a fantastic quad.
It's been a long season, but let's try to end it on a high note. Caution, caution. Well, what happened? Let me know you're okay.
And with that, another year of Formula One draws to a close and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. Another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers. Some amazing talent out there on track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Felipe Dragovic gets my vote today.
And with that result, McLaren can no longer be touched at the top of the table. They've had their ups and downs this season like all teams, but they've weathered the storm and come out on top. McLaren are world champions once again. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.